Hey everybody, it's Ren Carothers with your Monday edition of the Future Stars Friday forecast. So I'm wearing my mama t-shirt because two of the horses I want to discuss won this weekend in Jersey. The first horse we're going to talk about is Meru, and he is undefeated after winning the Smoke Blackened Stakes. He got a 95 buyer for the front end effort, and this is following his main special weight score, which he took by 6¼ lengths, getting an 81. I got to tell you, watching the horse in the winner's circle after the race, you could tell he was really proud of himself, real pumped up, looked very happy. Meru is trained by George Duarte and owned by Colts Neck Stable. And I reached out to George, who actually told me that Meru came out of the race in such great shape that they're actually going to resume training tomorrow because he can't just walk another day. He and the connections are earnestly considering some champagne. And when I say that, of course, I actually mean the stakes race, the Grade 1 champagne, a win and you're in for the TVG Juvenile as the potential next start for this tremendously talented colt. It's a one-turn mile, so stretching out, this could be a lot easier for the horse, and we can really get to see what type of talent he has. That 95 buyer is now the second highest of any juvenile this season, the top buyer being a 97 earned by Dennis's Moment. Meru, as far as the pedigree goes, he was, first of all, he was bred by Godolphin. He was a 75,000 yearling purchased by Zayat Stables and then bought by Colts Neck for 300,000 at the OBS 2-year-olds in training sale. He is a son of Sky Mesa, who is undefeated as a juvenile with wins in the Hopeful and the Breeders' Futurity. And actually, he's not the only son of Sky Mesa to become a stakes winner this weekend. Irish Mies won the mile and the 16th Laurel Futurity on turf also. But as far as Meru's bottom side goes, he's out of Lady Lavery, and she's a daughter of the Speedy Elusive Quality. He won the Poker in the Jaipur on turf. And then the decision to breed her to Sky Mesa, it's probably due to the fact that her half-sister, multiple Grade 2 winner Skylighter, is by Sky Mesa. And she won the Indiana Oaks as well as the Allaire DuPont Distaff. Meru's second dam is Painted Lady. She's by 4-time Grade 1 winner Broad Brush. He won the 86 Wood Memorial. Just finding on my notes here, also, I should mention he was third in the Derby and third in the Preakness. He also went on to go ahead and win the Suburban and the Santa Anita Derby. So very talented horse there. And then Painted Lady, again, that's Meru's second dam, his grandmother. She's a full sister to Nobo True, who's a Grade 1 winner in Japan. Their dam, Meru's great-grandmother, is also a Grade 1 winner, and her name? Nastique. You may remember her. She won the 87 Ladies Handicap, as well as back-to-back editions of the Delaware Handicap. She won an 88 and 89. And if you go just a bit further in the pedigree, Nastique's dam is a half-sister to 1972's Eclipse Award-winning sprinter, a mare named Chu Crute. So that's pretty cool. You've got a really nice balance of stamina and speed in this pedigree. So again, if they do go the champagne route, with it being a one-turn mile, it could be a lot easier for, this horse stretching out for the first time. Again, Meru, owned by Colts Neck Stable and trained by George Duarte. I also want to talk about another horse who won this weekend at Monmouth Park, and that is Vast for Claiborne Farm, Adele Dilschneider, Bill Mott. She got back on dirt and back into the winner's circle, winning the Hollywood Wildcat Stakes, and it was by 2¾ lengths. She became the first stakes winner for her sire, Lee, in doing so. Lee, of course, a Grade 1 winner. He set a track record when he won the Dawn in 2014, and he was second behind Liam's Map when Liam's Map set a record in the 2015 Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. The buyer came back as 67, so definitely room to improve, but her pedigree suggests that she can. Her mother is a daughter of multiple Grade 1 winners Seeking the Gold, who was second to Ali Sheba in the 1988 Breeders' Cup Classic. And then her stakes-winning grandmother, Limit. She's a half-sister to Group 1 winner Archipenko, and a half to Liable, who's the dam of 2010's Breeders' Cup Classic champion and Eclipse champion older horse Blame. But that's not even the juicy stuff. I talked about Vast on the first edition of the Future Stars Friday forecast. And just to refresh your memory, there's a reason why this pedigree goes so well with Lee, and I'm going to get to it here. Vast's great-grandmother is Bound, okay? So Bound is a daughter of Nijinsky, and so this makes her a three-quarter sister to Nureyev and a half-sister to Fairy Bridge. Why this is important with Lee is because Lee himself is out of a Galileo mare. And so when you cross this over, it's interesting because Fairy Bridge, who I just mentioned, is the dam of Sadler's Wells, who is the sire of Galileo. So it's a pretty cool way of connecting the families. And another reason it's prudent to talk about Vast again, even if she doesn't go ahead into a Breeders' Cup race, is because the last time we saw her, she ran fourth in the Bolton Landing, 7 lengths behind the winner, Kamari. And that's the Wesley Ward trainee who went on to be second over at Royal Ascot in the, which stakes was it? I can't recall exactly at the moment, but she put in a really game performance there, and we're probably going to see her in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint against the boys. Also, in that same race, the horse who was second was Abscond, who just won the Grade 1 Natelma. So, pretty cool there. This really flatters Kamari. Now, let's turn our attention to another Belmont trainee who just won first out. It was in Belmont's fourth race on Saturday, a mile and 16th on the turf, main special weight. And this was for L&J Foxwoods and NK Racing, and the horse's name? Tiesto. I gotta tell you, I'd done my work on this race because I previewed it on the Friday before. And I put my wager in earlier in the day. I did a 3-horse exacta box. And I didn't get in front of the television until the horses were actually getting ready to load in the gate. And I see the 8, and I'm like, oh my gosh, who is that? Please tell me that horse is on my ticket or I'm going to have to cancel. So I frantically grab my phone, I go back and I check, and thank goodness, yes, the 8 is on there, and it's Tiesto. And he put in such a professional performance because going into that first turn, he was hung out to dry basically, but he just bided his time under Dylan Davis, and when it was time to run, he took the cue and he just kicked on with pleasure. He ended up scoring by, what was the margin? Let me see here, 3.5 lengths. And this was ahead of the favorite, Eagerly. The horse went off at 11-1, so that was a nice exacta box, even with your favorite coming in second. Tiesto, as you probably know if you followed the race at all, he's a half-brother to the speedy Promises Fulfilled, the Grade 1 winner. He won the H. Allen Jerkins. He also won the Fountain of Youth. And the Amsterdam, and the Stole, Keenan Ogden Phoenix, as well as the John A. Nehrud. Don't want to sell the horse short. But whereas Promises Fulfilled is by multiple Grade 1 winner and a personal favorite of mine, Shackleford, Tiesto is by Winstar's Tis Now. We talk about him a lot on here. Why? Because he is the only 2-time winner of the Breeders' Cup Classic. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's been making noise. He's always been a really nice sire, but just recently there's such a number of really nice horses, including Dennis's Moment, who he is the sire of. So he's the sire also of Tiesto, and Tiesto's dam is Marquis Delivery. She's a multiple Grade 3 place daughter of Marquetry, and Marquetry was a Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf. So you've got that grass pedigree in there. Marquetry actually started his career across the pond. Tiesto notched a 75 buyer at first asking. And so when you consider that Decorated Invader, who by the way is another gorgeous specimen, when you consider that Decorated Invader got a 76 buyer winning the Grade 1 Summer Stakes, it's not crazy to wonder if this horse could be a contender. That being said, I can understand, it looks to me, I wasn't there in person, but it looks to me like this is a big horse. I can understand if they want to take their time with him, if we're too close to the Breeders' Cup to make it a target. But and especially when you would also be cutting back to a mile for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. But that being said, I don't know. He's definitely one you want to put in your stable mail. So very exciting there. A horse who is definitely targeting the Breeders' Cup, and more specifically the TVG Juvenile, is Scabbard. We saw Scabbard last running second to Dennis's Moment in the Iroquois Stakes. Prior to that, he was second to another really nice horse in Green Light Go in the Saratoga Special. Scabbard's trained by Eddie Keneally, and he's a homebred for Joseph Sutton. And, he didn't have the smoothest of trips in the Iroquois, and I feel like the fact that he was able to come, within, less than 2 lengths of Dennis's Moment in the Iroquois, it really is encouraging for his connections. Scabbard is a son of More Than Ready, and More Than Ready is actually tied with Unbridled Song and Sadler's Wells as having the most Breeders' Cup wins as a sire. In particular, More Than Ready has 5 individual winners. In 2010, Pluck won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and More Than Real won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Fillies. And then you had Rushing Fall win the 2017 edition of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. So right there, that's pretty cool. But More Than Ready is also the sire of two-time Breeders' Cup Sprint champ Roy H., as well as Turf Sprint winner Regally Ready. So you have the credentials there. You also have more black type on the bottom side. This colt's dam is Cowgirl Mally. She picked up the show doe in the Schuylerville Stakes, and she's a daughter of Grade 1 winner Gone West. And then Scabbard's second dam, Destination, is by one of the greatest horses of all time in Seattle Slew, our 10th Triple Crown champion. And she's also a full sister to Grade 3 winner General Meeting. He was second in the Grade 1 Hollywood Futurity of 1990, and this family also includes Grade 1 La Brea winner Teddy's Promise. So with this steady progression we've seen figure-wise, the confidence of his connections, the success that his relatives have had out here, it makes sense that they're looking to go west with Scabbard. And going back, talking about Meru's 95 buyer, prior to him taking the second spot on that figure list with, again, Dennis's Moment having a 97, it was Eight Rings who was in second buyer-wise with a 94. And the Bob Baffert trainee was on track Sunday. He put in a 5-furlong drill ahead of this Friday's American Pharoah Stakes, a win in your in for the TVG Juvenile. And he was working outside of American Anthem, who is a battle-tested 5-year-old, a multiple Grade 2 winner, Grade 1 place sprinter. And Eight Rings was clocked in 101 and 3, and American Anthem was clocked in 101 and 4. I thought he looked really good in the work. He finished with, really good energy, ears up. It's just too bad what happened. You look back at the Del Mar Futurity, we were all excited to see what was going to go, what he was going to do in his stakes debut, coming off that really impressive debut effort where he got that 94 buyer. And, obviously they had that incident where Drayton came off. Thankfully, nobody was injured. But the American Pharoah, I've been waiting for this race since that happened, and it's about to go down. So to refresh your memory as far as the pedigree goes, Eight Rings is a son of the aptly named Empire Maker. And, before siring the likes of Pioneer of the Nile, who then went on to sire American Pharoah, Empire Maker was a Grade 1 winner himself, a multiple Grade 1 winner. He had wins in the Florida Derby, the Wood Memorial, he won the Belmont Stakes, and he was also second to Funny Side in the 2003 Kentucky Derby. Eight Rings Dam, Purely Hot. She's a Grade 3 winner, Grade 2 place daughter of Pure Prize. He won the Grade 1 Kentucky Cup Classic, which is a 1.8 miles on dirt. But also we're talking about is the fact that Pure Prize himself is a son of the prepotent Stormcat and out of Hall of Famer Heavenly Prize. So this also makes him a full brother to multiple Grade 1 winning turfer Good Reward, who, by the way, Good Reward was second to Lava Man in the 2006 Pacific Classic. So going back to Stormcat and Heavenly Prize, both of them did contest the Breeders' Cup. Neither of them won, but they did place. Stormcat got nailed by Tiesto in the 1985 Juvenile, lost by a nose. And then Heavenly Prize, she was third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies back in 1993. And then she was second in the 94 Distaff to One Dreamer, and second again to Inside Information in the 1995 edition. So again, you've got a really nice pedigree here, and it was really exciting that you can hear just the stamina that this pedigree provides. And so the fact that Eight Rings came out sprinting, getting that 94 buyer on debut, it just makes you all the more eager to see what he's going to do on a route of ground. So that is your Future Stars Friday report for this Monday. I'm going to be back on Thursday with your next edition, and we've got an action-packed weekend ahead of us. As I've been telling you, we have multiple winning your ins for the Future Stars Friday card that starts on the 27th. We have the Shadwell Rockfell, which is a winning your in for the juvenile turf fillies at Newmarket. The American Pharoah, which used to be the front runner for the TVG Juvenile at Santa Anita, as well as the Chandelier, a win in your in for the juvenile fillies. And then on Sunday, the Juddmonte Royal Lodge Stakes at Newmarket for the juvenile turf. So until then, I hope you're having a great week, or that your week's off to a great start. It's only Monday, right? And I will see you back here on Thursday with your next installment of the Future Stars Friday forecast.